Alright guys, I'm Gizno, welcome back to another reaction video. Today we are back with some more RWBY Volume 9, looking at Chapter 5 today, which is titled The Parfait Predicament. Team RWBY is finally getting to taste their, or have their parfait, and I'm guessing gonna grow back to normal size. Now, this episode, when I said Chapter 4 was hyped up, I mean, like, I feel like that's nothing compared to Chapter 5. A lot of people have been talking about, like, you know, staying off, Twitter, and the fact that this episode is going to be super edgy. I think Casey said that. I think she also said to stay off Twitter. So she was really hyping up this episode. So I'm interested to see what we have in store. Something tells me we're also going to get a song in this episode too. Because I heard that we're going to get like the same amount of songs, but since it's a shorter volume, then if we're going to get the same amount of songs, then a lot of the episodes are going to have songs in it. So I'm thinking that this episode might have a song as well, which I wouldn't mind. Last episode was very, not hopeful, but I guess just a very nice thing to see for Team RWBY, at least for Weiss, Blake, and Yang. Just getting to go back to, you know, what they went through in the past, and getting to see their younger selves and seeing them rise above the temptations that their younger selves presented to them was really, really great. It was like a recap of what our characters went through, and just seeing how far they've gone. It really reminded me of the opening when we saw Weiss, Blake, and Yang, you know, walking forward and the light shining behind them. Like, they've really improved since then. RWBY, on the other hand, I love how they cut right after, like, they showed those three like being so hopeful and powerful. It cut to RWBY and she was on her knees and she was just completely lost when facing her younger self. I mean, I really have no idea what RWBY has in store for her. Like I said before, I think I said in my breakdown, so you guys probably haven't even seen it because I haven't uploaded any of my breakdowns, but basically, like, I really want RWBY to change. I want her to I want her character to change from this volume. So I'm really interested and really scared for what she might become at the end of this volume. And, you know, that doesn't mean that I want her to be like all negative all the time like John was in volume 4, but I want her to be just different somehow. I don't know how they're gonna make her different, but I want her to definitely be different by the time this volume ends. And seeing where she is now, like, I wonder what she's gonna become by the end of the volume. But yeah, they've definitely left us all wanting more, at least me. I can't wait to see where these characters go from here, and hopefully we get some more, some more mystery, not mystery, but hopefully we get some more answers as to the Ever After and exactly how it works with all of its characters and its rules. So I don't want to waste any more time. Thank you guys for watching. I really, really appreciate it. If you guys end up enjoying this video, then you can like the video, comment, subscribe. All those things really help me out. And subbing unless you guys know when I upload next. So let's not waste any more time and get on with the episode. Okay, so there was a bit of a problem with the camera. So I'm rewatching. I got to around like the halfway point of the episode when I noticed that the camera was suddenly turned off for some reason. So that stuff I already know. That stuff is like a rewatch, and then after that, when we get to the halfway point, that's when I'm gonna start watching, like, you know, new stuff. Okay, so that's what's going on. I don't know why it happened, but I don't know. Let's get back with the episode, I guess.
I'm so glad the four of you are still the four of you. Not always the case in the Ever After.
That's a very creepy thing to say.
Which, by the way, was how we ended up in that mushroom house to begin with.
Yeah.
You know,
what happened to
delirious caterpillar guy tried to drive.
What happened to sticking together?
Swallowed up by a freaking hole in the ground.
Yes. Alex had a similar reaction the first time she saw someone return to the Ever After.
It's a very creepy thing. It's the way of life here in the Ever After.
But not the way you think, if you think like Alex. Which it seems like you do.
I'm glad that Team RWBY asked more questions, because I was really expecting them to just let him get away with that with that weird explanation. And this was a beautiful... This reminded me of the Firefly episode in RWBY Chibi. And that's just, like, I don't know, it looked really, really nice.
Going to explain to us how a giant caterpillar disappearing into a hole isn't how it seems?
I love the little scarf hole that Blake and Weiss got right there.
But Herb,
Oh, you too, Yang. There
his
you go.
heart was too weak to listen. So I gave him a little bit of mine.
Is he dead?
No, no.
Yes and no.
Well, maybe a
It's kind of reminds me of regeneration from RWBY. I mean, regeneration from Doctor Who. You get reborn, but into a new person, you know?
and made into the Herb
Except the
he
Doctor
wanted
gets to
be
keep
when
his
he was
memories.
Still Herb. Then he'll come back.
I love
and
the
find
water
his
here,
purpose.
too. This was a good setting to have this conversation.
Or maybe not.
When Herb comes back, will he remember anything?
Kind of defeats the point.
Point of that. Where you're from, things die. But we're just not like you at all.
I love this. It's like so different,
Herb
you know?
will have a purpose again.
Yeah.
That's
I honestly thought this was a lot more malicious after chapter 4.
No.
And then
That's
this
not the sort of
happens.
thing you talk about in polite company.
We aren't polite company. You can tell us. We want to know.
So, what happened to Herb? Is that what happened to the king?
Yes. I thought the king got
It
punished
was all
and
very
replaced
sad.
with the
The
prince,
Red
but
King couldn't cope when he lost to Alex.
that's
A
what ended up
crime boss.
happening.
Thankfully, he was called back and fixed up, and now he's the prince you met.
So, that's why he cheats when the Red King didn't.
Because
But
cheating
that still doesn't
helps
explain why the Red Prince
with
was so
keeping the
much
prince,
meaner.
you know, lets
While
the prince do
may
his
not
role.
Remember Alex's deception after ascending. The heart very rarely forgets.
What if Little just forgot what Alex did to them? Maybe, I don't know.
Of course not. Exposition is terribly boring.
Like Alex
Even this
knew
conversation
Little,
was, on the whole, rather
but then they
tedious.
just forgot.
I wonder what else Alex left out.
Well,
If-
to make a
if
good
Alex
thing,
was the one that
all needs a bushel
did the
of brown
story.
ivy, one good-sized spicy potato, the lint off
Okay,
the
this is
sweater.
where
Ethel's dragon
this isn't
is
halfway, but this is where
which is right next
this
to
is where I
never
stopped.
remember.
I love this setting too. I love marketplace settings, and this is just really nice. I don't know.
available on the 3rd level. Some nose hair from a leprechaun.
There are leprechauns here.
If you retrieve that while I go get the rest.
We're splitting up
Sure.
again.
I guess so.
Wonderful. Look for
Are
the
you sure,
teapot,
Ruby?
lady. She'll have it. Now off you go.
Oh, for God's
Guess
sake.
I better go with the cat so they don't get distracted.
Are
by
we
a shiny
separating?
bell and never come
Oh.
back.
I'll go with you.
Get me as far away as possible from any nose hairs, please. I'll go with you, Ruby.
Aw. At least Ruby has somebody.
Nice try, kitty.
But we're coming along.
Curious Cat's like, damn it. I thought I could goof off. That is amazing. Jesus Christ. It's the R&R from Genshin,
Onward!
but a lot bigger. And there we go. There has to be something with Little and sleeping, because they're tired a lot. That is a nice shot of Little. I like that. Is this where we're gonna meet the masked lady? Oh. I don't like this. What the hell? Ruby? The anvil. Oh. What is that symbol? Another sword! These things are like freaking collectibles! Ah, we're gonna get a good look at her finally. Look at them finally.
I thought this was lost forever. How do you have it?
Is it?
No one is ever truly lost.
No one's ever really gone. Ooh, it's the axe! I need to see that axe in action. Oh,
And what of you? Are you lost?
No.
is that a butterfly wing?
My friends.
You can tell that axe is more important than all the other weapons.
You're doing this all alone?
Oh, I thought she was wearing a mask. Or they were wearing a mask. No, look. It's Little.
I don't think we're supposed to be here.
The world was literally telling her to come here.
Yes. Ruby is my friend, and I want to help her get home. Even though I don't know where that is or how to get there.
You seem to be carrying a rather large burden with you.
I'm fine. I can handle it.
Can you? Oh god,
If you
they are
change your mind,
big.
You may choose any one of these you like.
The axe?
Set your burden down.
No, but I don't think she should. Where did that come from? The dagger! Alex's
I
dagger.
already have a weapon.
Yeah, Crescent Rose.
I did.
And yet, here you are.
Weapons are extensions of ourselves. If she changes weapons, does that mean she's changing her person? Ooh, it's also a gun. Look, it has a trigger. What the heck?
Ruby? Who are you talking to? Did you retrieve the nose hair?
No, we haven't done anything. Wait, what the heck?
Come on, we got everything else.
Okay.
I,
Damn, Weiss.
I'm sorry.
Is that the teapot lady?
This is such a wholesome look. You have like the little tiny rubies. Oh
Looking
boy.
for nose hairs? No, not the ogre
Calm,
ones.
calm down, cat. Oh, nice. Thought that was death for a second. Danger, danger! I thought that was good news. No! Quick!
Those leprechaun nose hairs. No time.
Just buy them quickly!
Here,
No! Don't start giving yourself away!
it carries a mother's promise.
A mother's promise?
This is exceedingly bad.
Oh no, she just gave her emblem! Oh my
Truly
god.
terrible creature. If the Jabberwocker eats one of us, we do not ascend.
Ooh. That's death.
But be careful. Eat too much.
Quick
and we'll
alchemy.
Bring you back again. And that's a completely different potion.
Ooh. Oh, that looks good.
It wasn't enough.
Just keep eating it. Oh. Here it comes. Oh. Oh no. The last person that should be getting this.
No.
Now the last person. The toddler size. Thank you, bird.
What's he doing here?
I gave him something new to do for the moment.
Where'd that bird? I thought he said herb. Oh my god, the camera movement's been pretty good. You guys gotta just start scarfing that thing down. It's the night. It's the night. Oh my god, it is John. Look, that's his sword. That's his sword. Are they gonna
It's the rusted knight. Get the Parfait.
notice his sword? I guess one thing at a time.
Really?
Let's go! Song!
Ruby, follow me.
Oh my god, is John gonna be a badass? Let's go! Bop, bop. Does he remember? This is a lot better than Neo. It was a trick.
Neo?
It was a clone. No shot.
Supposed to be one.
Yeah. No way. She can make clones of other people too? Well, I guess.
What?
But like, this thing has their
This way.
this thing has their abilities and like mine, so it's not Neo in disguise.
We'll hold them off.
Who are you? Who's the bird? Oh my god. I guess it doesn't matter anymore. Thank you for your help. Did somebody see his sword? They're way too, I mean, like, they're way too panicked to notice. That was a really good fight, by the way. I gotta go back and watch that. Aww. Do you have Ruby's emblem by any chance? It's real bad. This is giving me, I wonder if this is like giving them flashbacks. It's like, this is just like freaking Atlas.
I am so tired of leaving places in ashes.
Yeah. Well, it's got super edgy. Guys, the sword.
I can't believe it. The Rusted Knight. In person.
Blake's old crush.
You did good, Juniper.
Juniper?
Team Ruby. You finally made it.
Oh my god. So I want to start off the breakdown talking about the setting of this episode, the overall episode, which was the marketplace little like flower area that we got to spend time in. I am a big fan of like marketplace scenes, I guess. There's just a lot of detail that you can do with places like that. You know, what's being sold, who's selling it. And I think that it was done pretty well. Like, I like the little, what they were selling in the background. A lot of it made no sense, as the Ever After is in general. Like, a lot of things don't make sense there. So you got people selling like mud pies, I think. And then they're selling like leprechaun hairs, things that have to do with griffins. And I imagine that they're selling them for weird prices. The thing that we'll talk more about it, but Ruby giving her emblem and then saying that it was like what was it? Like, it was powered by like a mother's promise or something like that. Like, I can only imagine what all the other things, what they were priced as. But yeah, like I said, I was a really big fan of the marketplace area. I think it was a very nice setting to have that showdown, because everybody from like different lands were there. Like, you had the people with the from Toyland, you had the mice, and I imagine some other places that we haven't seen yet. So I guess that means that these people can travel to different parts of the world, and they can, as a community, like shop and interact and things like that. So that's really, really cool, and it's nice to learn more about this world. On top of that, I also liked the night sky and like the water as well. Like, those were just such beautiful shots. I was a big fan of, because like the sky looked like there was a part of the episode when we first arrived, and I think they were panning down. They showed the sky, and it was like the night sky, and it looked like the little green dots. They really reminded me of the fireflies from that episode in RWBY Chibi, like where Penny and Ruby were playing with the fireflies. It really, really reminded me of that. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but like, I was like, oh no, Penny. But it also just really looked beautiful. And on top of that, when the Curious Cat was talking about how the whole rebirth thing works in the Ever After, the water also had, I think it was like a purple color to it. It's like, that was like a really good setting to have a conversation about life and death and things like that. And also the conversation itself was just really, really, it was nice. It was basically a topic about like death in the Ever After, or the lack of it. But like, it's just something beautiful about learning about a different place's natural cycle, I guess. And it's just very interesting, like, and very, like, I mean, they were answering the questions that I had. I honestly thought the Ever After was, and maybe it still could be, but I was honestly thinking that the Ever After was a lot more malicious than what was shown in this episode. The whole thing with like being, the king turning into the prince, and what Herb was talking about, how he might not be the herbalist for much longer. When I heard those things, I was like, okay, what's happening is people are getting replaced. They're not doing their roles. The island, or the Ever After, is upset about that, and they're snatching people and replacing them with other people who can fulfill those roles. Like, I was expecting something dark, and it could still be. The Curious Cat could simply be lying, or it could just be like, it could work similar to what they were saying, but also have that like dark undertones. But from what we're hearing here, like it's honestly very nice. Not nice, but it's the way things are. Like if anything, the ever after is sort of like what's happening, what the people are going through isn't something that they're afraid of. It's not something to be scared of. It's like, okay, you can't fulfill your role. We will send you back. We'll have you freshened up. And yes, you will change. You will become somebody new, but you'll be able to fulfill the role that you were created for. And it's not something bad. It's just how it is. And I like that. Like, if it honestly isn't that dark, I will... If it doesn't have like a dark secret to it, then I will like that, because it's like, okay, from our understanding, from our world, that's kind of creepy in a way, but like from where they are and how they were raised and their natural cycle, that's normal and that's okay and that's fine. And it's like, okay, we have to accept that in a way. And I like that. The only thing is, it makes me wonder how it's going to work for our people, because we're not from here. We're from Remnant. Like, it does seem like the Ever After is sort of trying to get RWBY to join them in a way, and that could also be what's happening with John, and that could also be what happened with Alex and Alex's friend. I mean, even in this episode, the Curious Cat sort of like hints at what might have happened to them when they were talking about how, oh, Team RWBY, it's great that all 4 of you are together. That doesn't happen all the time in the Ever After. Like, it makes it like, oh, what happened to Alex and her friend? Did they separate? Did they get upset with each other? Did they fight? Or did one of them simply maybe not die, but they got refurbished or whatever, and they became a part of this world? Like, it's a bit like, when you start getting into like us, it's like, okay, I mean, what you guys do is cool with you, but keep that with the Ever After people. Don't do anything to the Remnant people, all right? They might not want to be here. They might not want to be regenerated. It really does remind me of Doctor Who's regeneration, but like regenerated into a new person. And yeah, I do say it does remind me of Doctor Who, because that's basically what regeneration is. When the Doctor dies, they regenerate. They become a new person, a completely new person, new thoughts, new feelings, new ways of doing things. But it's still them, so they're not like dead. But they are different, and you know, it's supposed to just be the natural way that their people live. But it is at the same time sad, because it's like, okay, you're not the same person. You're somebody completely different. So it's sort of similar to that with like the King and stuff like that. And it also makes me wonder about Little too. Like, then there's a good chance that Little might have been somebody else, but then they got their memory taken away. And it would have to be recent, because like they seem like very, very new and fresh. I don't know, I guess that's something like to keep an eye out for. Honestly, anybody, all of them could have been like, you know, like they could have been refurbished and like turned into somebody else. Like, there really isn't, except all of the people who look old and stuff, like they're probably the ones like Herb and Jinxie. Like, they've probably been around, you know, they're fine, they're doing their job just fine, even though Herb is, I think, becoming somebody new right now. But like Jinxie, like they're fine, they're doing their job, it's completely normal. But like, it's hard to tell, because they completely everybody who does like turn into somebody new, they lose their memory, which makes sense, because like, you know, it would defeat the purpose if they still remember everything bad that happens. It's still a little bit in their heart. Like, the prince hearing about humans, like that made him mad. So it's like, yeah, I still remember how I feel about humans, but like overall their memory is completely gone. And I think RWBY's kind of interested in that, because she was like, I don't know, the way that she has that was like, the look on her face too, it's like, hey, do they lose their memory when that happens? And then she's like, and then after the cat's like, well, what's the point of that? And I don't know, like maybe RWBY's like, oh, okay, because there are a lot of memories that she would like to get rid of. So I wonder if that might be something that ends up happening. Like she's like, you know what, I'll take the deal. I think that, I mean, that is what they've been hinting at for a while now, but I think RWBY's starting to show interest in the idea after talking to her younger self, and her younger self's going like, you can be anything you want. And it's like, oh, I might actually get that chance now, you know? But it is interesting how this part isn't in the Ever After. I mean, it is like in the Ever After story, that Alex supposedly made, but honestly, it could not be I mean, it could be anybody. It doesn't have to be Alex. I do wonder why this isn't in the story, because Alex has seen people go into the ever after. Like, that's what the Curious Cat said. So it's like, okay, if she saw that, then why wasn't this recorded in the book along with everything else? If she wasn't even if she wasn't the one that recorded it, like, if it ended up being her friend, well, didn't her friend see that? So why keep that part out of it? Like, I think there is going to be some more, because I still don't 100% trust the Curious Cat, but there might still be some more stuff to the whole idea of regenerating and becoming somebody new. Maybe it isn't as picture perfect as the cat sold to us. But yeah, I mean, I know the Curious Cat called all of this exposition, but I think the exposition was done really well. Like, for one thing, like, the visuals were able to keep us entertained, and also this was exposition that we wanted to hear. Like, I was very curious as to the way this world worked. So getting a chance to, like, sit down and talk about that, I think was a very, very good idea. So, like, I was like, I'm happy that we're getting this exposition. And I think also it was just done well too. Like, you know, the Team RWBY was asking questions, and after that the Curious Cat was answering. It wasn't just a Curious Cat talking. Like, it was back and forth. The conversation was a little bit back and forth. But like I said, also the visuals really kept us going, and this was just information that we really wanted to hear. So this was a perfect time to tell us. So yeah, that was really good. I like the fourth wall joke that the Curious Cat did with, like, the exposition. I think that was done a lot better than last week's episode, where, like, they made a joke about how there was one joke I specifically didn't like, and it was the one where the Curious Cat was talking about the amount of characters that's in the show RWBY. Mainly because, I mean, it is true. Like, RWBY for some reason loves to bring in, like, a whole bunch of characters into the volumes, even though we clearly don't have enough time for all of them. And we can tell that they haven't learned their lesson, because they did the same exact thing in the Justice League, adding Juniper on top of having the Justice League and Team RWBY. Like, it was just way too much for no reason. Plus, we know Oscar's gonna be in that, and Pyrrha as well. It's like, oh my god, how many characters are you gonna have in such a short amount of time? But yeah, I mean, the difference between that joke and this joke was they did the exposition very well. So making a joke about, like, exposition being boring, I think, you know, was a lot more funny, because it's like, oh, it's funny, but, like, you guys actually did the exposition well. So I don't have any negative thoughts on the joke at all, you know? But as the episode goes, we see RWBY, and she's very much doubting herself more and more. Like, she's apologizing for, like, little things that she really doesn't have to. And she's also, I don't know, like, when the Curious Cat made the idea to split up, I think she didn't, maybe I'm just, like, projecting, but, like, I think she thought it was a bad idea, because the Curious Cat already split up before, and they got drugged and, like, shown their past selves, and RWBY was filled with more trauma. So I think she didn't like the idea of splitting up, but she didn't say anything, because she's like, I mean, I'm probably wrong, so I won't, like, you know, talk back. The Curious Cat probably knows more than me, so I'll keep my mouth shut. And when, like, Weiss got upset, like, RWBY just, like, went, look, oh, I'm sorry. I think she is, like, putting herself more and more in a ball, because she's doubting herself, and doubting her abilities. She didn't even, like, talk much near the end of the episode. Like, she didn't really say anything, because, like, I mean, like, they had to kind of push her in the background because she didn't have her weapon with her. But she did protect her friends when they were small. She did do that. At least she tried to. So she's not 100% lost, but, like, yeah, you can tell that she's kind of, like, putting herself in a ball a little bit, you know, with doubt and stuff like that. But yeah, RWBY and Little are on their own, and that's when we get to finally see the blacksmith, and I'm glad we finally got to see a much better shot of her. She looks very, very creepy, but also, like, really cool. Her little tent was also really nice. She has a symbol on there as well. Yeah, her design was really cool. I love how tall she is compared to RWBY too. Like, it's honestly, like, very, very, she's incredibly tall. And also I love her design as well. It looks really badass, and I don't think she even has eyes because her mask isn't like a mask, it's moving, but she doesn't have like eyeballs. Like, that's creepy. So something interesting, and I'll try to have pictures up, but the tents are all a part of Ruby's, like, not dream, I guess, but like the whole like illusion mental thing that the Forger is putting her under. But all those tents aren't actually there, and you see this like leaf symbol here. And that leaves usually have to do with fall, so maybe this has to do with the fall maiden in a way that we don't understand yet. But like, this symbol definitely follows us throughout the dream sequence, because when Ruby goes inside the tent, or when Ruby goes inside the tent the first time, the tent's curtains are tied so she's able to walk in. But when like she's inside and we see the entrance again, it's covered in that symbol. So I mean, I guess that's like the first hint that this isn't real. But it also, I don't know if that means like these tents are actually located in a different part of the Ever After, and if so, like, what does the symbol mean? Is it like a tribe? Or is it like, I don't know, but there's definitely something with that symbol there. And once again, it does look like it reminds me of a leaf. That's what it reminds me of. So I don't know if that's if it has any ties to Remnant, or if there's a whole other thing in the Ever After that has to do with leaves. Actually, no, there it does. The whole leaf thing is like, leaves are like I knew leaves were important. Those leaves were important in the Ever After, because those like multicolored leaves, they definitely have to mean more than we think, because they have symbols like on curtains. So I don't know what it is, but like there definitely is something that has to do with those leaves. Maybe those leaves mean like rebirth in the Ever After, or like it's a symbol. Those leaves are just a symbol of the Ever After as a whole. I don't know. But that's interesting. And then we see the Forger here, and she's like forging some kind of butterfly. Butterflies are another thing that we see a lot of in the in this volume. I wonder if I go back, will I see a butterfly in every episode of this volume? But it is another thing that's interesting is the fact that Little is in this dream as well. Like, she's in there and she's like, I don't think we're supposed to be here. I don't think you're supposed to be here, Little. Like, this is all happening in Ruby's mind, so why are you even here? Like, maybe it has to do with the fact that she's sleeping all the time. Maybe she's, I don't know, that's like an ability or something. But she's definitely tied very closely to Ruby if she's also in her head as well. But she wasn't there when Ruby was in that mental scape with her younger self. So maybe like their bond is getting stronger. Maybe it's just because Little was touching her at the time, so it's like, okay, that counts. I don't really know, but that's really interesting that Little is also in that dream as well. I think it definitely does have to tie with the fact that Little is supposed to be like the little bit of hope that Ruby has left. At least if that like whole Jinx thing with the jar was anything to go by. Maybe that's her purpose, and because purposes are so powerful here, like the world takes that very seriously. Like, yes, your purpose is to be that little hope that Ruby has left, so that means you are tied to the hip. You are mentally tied to Ruby, and that's why she was able to go with Ruby into that world, into that like weird dream. But like even Little had like a bad feeling about that area. Maybe it's because we're getting off the path of the Ever After. It's like, hey, you're not supposed to be here yet. So like Little is like, oh, I'm getting kind of antsy about this. But I don't know, because she's also supposed to be a guide for Ruby. So it's like, you're kind of not letting me do my job if we're jumping from one place to the other. I think that could be what's going on. Like that dream was like an area that was like fused with what Ruby already knows. So like we saw little bits of the forest, but like the tents are located in a different part of the Ever After. So yeah, some weird. We also see Penny's swords. I think we're gonna see that sword again. If we see the Forger again, like we could possibly see that sword again too. It turns from Penny's sword to Alex's sword, or Alex's dagger, and we see like the reflections of all these people So we see like Penny's reflection in Penny's sword, Alex's reflection in Alex's dagger, and then after that we see either Rose or a different Ruby in the reflection of the axe. It could be Summer Rose. It'd be pretty interesting if that was Summer Rose's weapon, but like I'd have to go like, but how? Like, how did Summer end up here? The only way that Team Ruby was able to end up here was through magic. Like, where did Summer get the magic for this? But then after that, how did Alex get in that world too? So it's like, I mean, I guess it's possible. But it could also be like Ruby's ideal version of herself. It's kind of hard to tell because they both look so similar, but she could, be looking at herself through that blade. It's like, this could be yours, this could be your life, But I think the Forger asking Ruby to choose a different weapon is very, very dangerous, considering that, the weapons are supposed to be extensions of ourselves. So if Ruby is choosing a different weapon, does that mean she's choosing a different version of herself? Some people I saw on Twitter were going like, hey, maybe the axe could be an axe for now, but then when Ruby's more sure of herself, it will become Crescent Rose. So it was always Crescent Rose, but it was something else because Ruby was trying to be something else. That's an interesting idea. I think it will end up being like that is the axe, and then Ruby will become sure of herself, and then she'll find Crescent Rose somewhere else. Or maybe she'll find Crescent Rose and like she won't feel comfortable using it, and then after that, until she's sure of herself. I don't know, but I saw a trigger on that axe, so that means it's usable. That means it's usable for some interesting fight scenes, because it's probably also a gun, which also means it could also be Summer Rose's weapon, because her weapon is probably also a gun too. I don't know. So yeah, we're gonna fast forward all the way to the fireworks. Real quick, I love how the fireworks actually equal bad in this world. It's like, hey, nice fireworks, danger, run. And it's like, oh no, this is bad. So yeah, that was a nice little touch there. But through all the chaos, in order to get the leprechaun nose hairs, Ruby had to trade in her emblem, her symbol. This has been a symbol of hers since Volume 1, so it's crazy that she gave that up. Like when we saw that, like, what was it? Was it like a teacup or something? When we saw the shopkeeper again, she was like crying her eyes out, and I was just like, can we get that symbol back by any chance? It's just crazy to think that Ruby won't have that anymore. And we learned that apparently it's fueled by a mother's promise. So Summer Rose probably gave that to her before she left, and it's like, I promise that I'm gonna come back, which I think was also in Red Like Roses, like, you promised that you would come back but you didn't. It's bad because now she's starting to give herself up. Like, first it's her emblem, what's next? Her not her cape, but what do you call that? I forget what cloak, like her red cloak, like freaking her silver eyes, like what, like, give herself up, starting to give, like, very iconic parts of her. Like, it's a dangerous thing, because that means like she's like slowly getting rid of herself and like making way for something new, which isn't bad. It isn't bad, but like when you want to completely become somebody else, like, and like completely forget about who you were, like, that's the whole thing. It's like, it's similar to like the whole thing with Yang in the last episode, how she doesn't want to like give up who she is now. It's similar, but like the reverse. Like, you don't want to just completely forget who you were before and all of the hardship that you went through in order to become a different person, because like all those things happen to you. All those things are part of growing. And like, if Ruby did sort of just run away from her past trauma like that without actually facing it, like, I can't really see that as healthy, like, she has to remember all those things. She has to go through them, go through all of her past in order to change. Like, that's the longer, harsher way, but I feel like that's the more honest way, honest with yourself, and honest with yourself. So the Jabberwock is here. The Jabberwocks are here, and it's a freaking crisis mode. Everybody's running. Everything's getting like there's a bunch of stuff smoking, probably on fire. I think the fight scene was okay. I'll talk more about that in a second, but like I think it was pretty messed up that the Curious Cat just manipulated somebody into helping them. It's like it felt like those people that bird was a tool. Like that was honestly really that's what makes me not trust the Curious Cat, because that's incredibly dark. Like you just change somebody's heart in order to basically use them as fodder. Like why? Like, and you know that's like death. Like that's the only thing that equals death in this world, and you just sent somebody out there to do that. Like the Curious Cat, it's like, do you care about the people around you? And like, even if you don't, like, you're willing to use them and put them in harm's way. Like that's crazy. So it's like there's a dark side. There's definitely a dark side to this Curious Cat if they're just doing that to random people, you know? But yeah, I said the fight was okay. Like the actual, like the moves were really cool. Like I'm sure there are gonna be a bunch of new Yang profile pics now. But like everybody was really working hard. Like you even had like the Rusted Knight coming in, and there were some good moves. The only thing is, and I see that a lot with RWBY fights, it's like they're way too one-sided. Like there are some exceptions, but like there are overall way too many one-sided fights. And it's like, all right, we're facing the Jabberwock. Can you please have Team RWBY get knocked into some stuff? Like have them get thrown around, have them get punched in the face, have them crash into a store stand or whatever. You know, have them get hurt. Have it be like a 1-2 fight. Like, all right, you got some hits in, I got some hits in. Like, I don't know, just when you have them beating all these things and all these people so easily, it's like, all right, it kind of takes away from the fight, at least in my opinion. I just wish that they would do more with the 1-2. Like they did that with like Blake versus Adam, especially. Like that was a good like you know, two-sided fight. You know, the Nevermore was like pretty two-sided as well, or like 1v4-sided or whatever you want to say. But like those are the kind of fights that I want. Like I don't want just like one-sided fights. But yeah, John came in absolute badass. He's definitely like, even with a broken sword, like freaking like Meliodas coming in and like beating this Jabberwock with his trusted bunny or whatever. Like that was pretty cool. I really like that a lot. The whole thing with Neo's clone, I'm really interested to see what the heck she's planning, because her upgrade is a lot more serious than we thought. Like she's actually able to create people, probably not as strong as the original, but like still able to create like people. Like the Jabberwock, she was able to create with the Jabberwock skill, and the Jabberwock clones were able to talk. So it's like, okay, so this is actually really bad. Can she clone RWBY, Team RWBY, and with their semblances? Like how far can she go? Like I don't know, but like that's a really interesting power. And I love how right away like the Team RWBY was like, oh shit, Neo. I don't know, but like, yeah, Neo is on a war path, destroying and killing anybody in her path. I mean, her end game is definitely getting to RWBY, but how much destruction is she gonna cause on the way? Like, if she's a big fan of Alex, then she's kind of acting like her, but like 10 times worse. It's like she's leaving, like Alex left like some destruction in her path, but she was just doing it to go home. Neo's doing it to, like, you know, get revenge. So like it's not really great. Yeah, all this death and destruction was really bringing back Atlas vibes for me. So like seeing the girls also go through that too, I was like, oh my god, you're just like me. Like it was really bad, like just hearing all the screams and the smoke everywhere. Like Weiss just being like, I'm tired of leaving places destroyed. Like before, I wonder how long it will be before they go like, I wonder, is it us? Is it our fault that this is happening? Like, even though really it's not, because nobody asked Neo to, they didn't ask Neo to like come in guns a-blazing and destroy everything. But like, it's that kind of stuff, like when it's like, all right, we see it over and over again. Sooner or later, we got to be like, okay, I think the problem might be us. Maybe we should stay away from civilization. Finally get a good look at the Rusted Knight. John takes off his helmet, and oh my god, they made him hot. They made him hot. What else can I say? I was heartbroken when they gave John the freaking banana head Boruto haircut in Volume 7. But I honestly was starting to like it again. But then after that, I completely throw that shit out the window. I'm tired of it. I'm glad we got his long hair back. He even got the ponytail, which is what I wanted him to have in Volume 7. Like, his hair was getting too long. He just put in a ponytail. But the hair is definitely too long now. He has a little ponytail, which is like tied together with, I think, Pyrrha, something that to do with Pyrrha, which is pretty cool. And yeah, I mean, the beard too looks really badass. The question is, has he been here for a long time, or is he just his ideal version of himself? Like, if he was here for a long time, it does make sense because Neo also came in like at a completely different time. Not as bad as John, because John is like a grown man now. But like, Neo did come in at the same time that RWBY did, but she actually landed like an hour or 2 hours after. So there's like the question of what the hell is going on with time. We know that time like works different here. So it's like, how long has he, if it does end up being because of a time issue, how long has he been here? Is it possible that he's been here for a very, 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 like, is he the original Rusted Knight? And if so, like, has time made him near immortal? Like, hundreds of years has passed and he only looks like he grew like 10 years, 20 years? Not 10 years, probably like 20 years. And then the question would be like, when he goes home, if he goes home, he might not. Like, I know Miles is like, he doesn't have the same position as he used to. Like, he left Rooster Teeth. So there's a good chance that they're getting rid of John. I mean, who knows? But like, if he's still around, if he does end up going back to Remnant, is he going to go back to his proper age? Or is he gonna like still have the beard and everything? He's like, I'm a grown man now. Which honestly, if that ends up happening, I mean, I don't see why not. Like, they can keep that look for him, even though like he can still hang around like, you know, his old team. He'll just be older, you know. The only thing that makes me think like, okay, it could be a time thing is because he called the bunny Juniper. So he remembers Juniper, and it could be because Juniper's in his heart, but he also remembered Team RWBY and he was like, I was expecting you to be here. Unless there's some kind of prophecy thing going on in the Ever After and everybody was expecting Team RWBY, I don't see how he can remember or know that Team RWBY was going to be here and you know, him, you know, waiting for Team RWBY to be here. So I think that it might be the case that he's just landed a lot sooner than all the other girls, you know. And if that's the case, then there's a good chance that Crescent Rose landed a lot sooner than RWBY as well. Maybe around like Alex's time. And I wonder if John met Alex. I wonder what his thought process is, because he probably knows about the Rusted Knight. So he's probably like, holy shit, I'm the Rusted Knight. That's absolutely crazy. You know, it's like you wake up and you actually realize you're Little Red Riding Hood, or you're Jack from Jack and the Beanstalk. Like, that's probably like really, really trippy if you think about it. And if he's the original one too, then there's a good chance that he met Alex. So if that's the case, it's like, you can give us answers, you know, answers that the whole world refuses to give us about Alex. But yeah, I mean, that's the episode. Ended in a pretty big cliffhanger. I really like this episode, actually. The setting was really great. The characters were great. Like, the mystery is just getting more and more great. And then John was just perfection. So I was a big fan of this episode for sure. I'm excited to see what we have next in store. Hopefully we get some more answers. We figure out what the heck happened with John, and we hopefully learn more about Alex as well. I mean, we're like halfway through the volume now, so I think things are definitely starting to pick up for sure. I mean, we're getting answers, so this is a good thing. Still waiting. I talked about this in my breakdown. But like, now that we're getting this far in the volume, I want to start seeing more from RWBY. We saw how sad she is. We established that she's sad. You know, she's not in her usual state of mind. She's, you know, she's down in the dumps, right? So I want to see her start doing more actions because of this feeling of her current mental state. Like, I want her to start like either talking to somebody about how she's feeling, or maybe lash out on Team RWBY, on the rest of her team, because like she's, like I said, in the wrong mental state right now. I want to start, like, you know, if she's gonna start, like, you know, trying to choose a different life, then I want her to do that, but I need her to start like doing more actions, you know. And I don't just mean like actions like she hasn't been doing anything. Obviously she's been trying to get home, but I mean like as a sad character, I want her to start making, you know, decisions based off of her current, you know, mental state. And because I don't want her to just be brooding around like John was in Volume 4. I want her to, you know, just start doing things, you know. But yeah, because like I said, we are halfway through the volume now, so I want to start seeing that stuff. Like, the only way you can have a proper character arc, I feel like, is if you have the characters doing something, and more than just walking around looking sad. So yeah, that is what I'm hoping for starting in the next chapter. Like I said, really like this chapter, and I'm really excited to see what we have next. So tell me what you guys thought about the episode down in the comment section down below. Tell me any ideas that you have for the future of this volume down in the comment section down below. Thank you guys again for watching. If you guys watched this whole thing, I really appreciate it. I'll see you guys next time. Until then, bye.